The current coronavirus pandemic has impacted people everywhere. It's helped us to see that we're connected in ways that we never realized before. But long before this crisis, Children of Promise had been working to make wholeness possible for children around the world.
Our relationships with local Children of Promise leaders in various countries have put us in a unique position to be able to respond to those most in need. Join us as we take a few minutes to talk with these leaders and learn what the coronavirus has meant for life where they live.
You'll also find out how we can support them as they care for the children and families in their communities. And after the video, you can check out our new Children of Promise website, childrenofpromise.global, to find out more. We are so pleased to be joined today by Herman Kisasila, who is the director of Safina, which is the name of the Children of Promise program in Tanzania. Unfortunately, our internet connections aren't stable enough to be able to do a video call, but hopefully our conversation will be encouraging and enlightening as we talk with Herman today in light of the global pandemic of COVID-19. So Herman, introduce yourself to us a little bit, to those who are listening, and tell us about the situation of COVID-19 in Tanzania.
My name is Herman Kisasila. I am the Director of Children of Promise here in Tanzania. We are currently facing a global pandemic with COVID-19. The pandemic is actually affecting everyone because it has changed the whole lifestyle. But the children have been affected also because they cannot go to school at this time where they should be at school, and we don't have that many access to homeschooling for our children. Of that, not many families have internet access or computers, so it is difficult for the Children of Promise kids to homeschooling. The Children of Promise still make a difference in many children's lives, even at time like this, where the schools are closed, but the Children of Promise has not been closed. It still provide hope and physical needs such as food, clothes, healthcare, and hygiene stuff like soap and sanitizers.
Herman, how has the Tanzanian government responded to the pandemic? Are they saying how long schools will be closed, and how long people will be on lockdown at home?
The difficult thing is nobody really knows how soon things will end. Though the government is doing everything it can possibly do to make sure that the spread of the disease is being controlled. And currently, all of the education institutions are being closed down since March 17th. And the government has suspended all the mass gatherings like sports, crusades, and it is watching very closely to some of the other gatherings like worshiping services and funeral activities. But really, nobody knows when this pandemic will end. When in March, there was few people who have been affected, like 5 to 6 of them. But now we are down to, we have the government has reported like 5 deaths till this point. So it's looking like it's getting worse instead of decreasing. So we really don't know.
Have you been able to see if the church has been able to respond to any of the needs that have been created by closures and that kind of thing, or is the church having a difficult time responding because they're also unable to gather?
Yeah, the church is also having a difficult time to respond because, I mean, they are not required to do any kind of mass gatherings. So it's actually the government who says what it should be done, and even the churches has to follow and abide to that regulations which have been set by the government.
Are you able to still do disbursements of any kind with nutrition items and the hygiene items that you mentioned? Are you able to travel freely?
We are not allowed to travel to anywhere. The government has just told people to stay where they are, and we are not allowed to do any meetings. So, but we just send our disbursement money to the areas about 2 days ago, and today I have started to receive some information that those funds have been reached to the area, and the committee member can be able to go to the bank and get the money so that they can get the children's needs.
Have you noticed any complications with the access of items that you need to purchase or the price of those items?
Well, the price of the items has really gone up, especially food items and hygiene stuff. They have been, I mean, the price have gone up so high, and everybody now is worried, like, what are we gonna do if things will continue like this? Because even the access of the items is going to be difficult because there is no that movement of people around from one place to another. So it's kind of really a difficult situation right now.
How is the agricultural situation at this point? Are the harvests looking like there will be a good yield this year, or will that also be a difficulty for families?
It's going to look like a very tough year this year because we have been the rain has been pouring down since October, and it never stopped till very this moment. It's just raining so hard. The infrastructure has been destroyed so bad, and the farms are flooding. Crops are being washed away, and it's just difficult. And now people are being told to stay home. It's just making even life even difficult. So yeah, we just hope that this pandemic will go away and people can at least be free to go around and get their basic needs.
Sounds like a very discouraging time for a lot of people. Are you seeing that there are any positive stories that have developed, or are you seeing any signs of hope, or has the church seen any opportunities for ministry, or what are some good news things that are taking place during this tough time?
The good news, I'll say that we are thankful that we have no case of any of our children from this kid or their family's member acquiring the COVID-19. We hope that the situation will settle quickly and everyone will go back to normal life. No one is thinking right because we have this sense of fear and worries that the end, and the government has instructed, and they're really serious about that the church has been silenced to do anything right now because they can't do anything. Do is praying.
It's a very tough situation, but I'm at least encouraged to know that you've been able to still get resources to children and their families, and despite some higher prices and certainly complications to the process, I'm encouraged that you're not seeing cases of the sickness and in those families, and that you have at least been able to respond to their needs through the dispersion of those funds.
Yeah, we are really thankful for that, and we are still praying that God can help this situation. Like this past Sunday, the Church of God has Easter convention, and it was a joint of churches around Babati and the CCT churches, but they had to record those services and to make it live coverage through the televisions to speak about the pandemic. But unfortunately, the crew who were going to cast that service were from Dar es Salaam, and when the regional government heard about them coming into Babati, they just come to the church and take them away, and now they're in quarantine for 14 days. They are not allowed to go anywhere. They're just locked in till after 14 days. So you can see how difficult things are.
Are all of the current cases of COVID-19 in Dar es Salaam at this point?
The first case was in Arusha, actually, which was very close to Babati, and everybody was really worried. But we have the most cases in Dar es Salaam than any other places. So, and we had that like 3 people from this broadcasting company died, and that's why the government was really worried about when they hear that the TBC people are here in Babati, so they just put them on quarantine.
Herman, as sponsors are listening to this recording of our conversation, and a lot of them will be people who sponsor children in Tanzania, what would you like to say to them? What would you like sponsors to know about the children that they support and their families?
What I'll tell the sponsors is that even at this very moment, the Children of Promise in Tanzania is so very thankful for what the sponsors are doing to their children, because even at this moment, they can still get their needs and support. We know the borders have been closed and the schools have been closed. Children are staying home, but the support from the Children of Promise or from the sponsors has not been closed. They can still reach their children, and they can help them in this very tough situation or tough moment through their sponsorship.
That's really great to hear. Before we finish this call, are there things specifically that we can be praying for you and your family, and for the children and the Children of Promise program? What prayer requests would you like to share?
I'd like to pray about the situation, and that the children can at least get some school access, for instance, like school materials, because it's very difficult for them to just stay home and not attending the school. We don't have that many access for internet or computers that the children can use so that they can at least keep in touch with their schooling. So by this time where they're staying home, most of the children are just staying, and they're not studying. So because the access isn't just there. So we are worried that I don't know when these things will end, and when the children go back to school, they might have forgot a lot of things which they have learned in past 3 months. So everything has changed. Even the school schedules are changed. We don't know when the school will reopen, and we don't know when this pandemic will end. So it's like we're just in a confusion and fear. So we just pray that God can heal this situation.
Well, thank you so much, Herman, for sharing with us. We're discouraged about things that are happening around the world and the complications that presents for ministry to take place and for children's needs to be met, but we're very encouraged that you've been able to continue to serve through Children of Promise, and at least those children and their families are being cared for to the best of your ability. So we will certainly continue to be in prayer for the Children of Promise program in Tanzania, as we pray for the Children of Promise program all over the world, and those outside the Children of Promise program as well that are facing a lot of needs. But thank you so much for spending some time with us and sharing with us about what you're seeing and how you're being affected with all of the current events.
Yeah, thank you too. It's been good to talk to you. And the video wasn't so good, but we still could hear each other.
It's always good to hear your voice, Herman.
Thank you, Heather. It's good to hear you too. Great Maddie for us and everybody else.
Yes, and greet Grace and the children.
I will. I will. Thank you.